John, take us into our first fight with Nate Grebb and Ruben Martinez.
Yeah, Nate Grebb out of Conquest BJJ, Ruben Martinez out of the OC Fight Club. Nate is a guy very well-rounded, likes to strike, purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And Ruben Martinez is a guy who has boxed professionally, has taken up grappling later in his career. I'm expecting for Ruben to do well. He's going to need to keep this fight standing.
Ruben is built like a college refrigerator. He is short and square and really solid.
Yeah, already landed a nice strike, caught Nate off balance. Nate goes down. Obviously now Nate's like, all right, let me reset here and get this game started.
Well, it's no secret that Nate's going to want to take this fight to the ground, which is a little bit surprising because I guess when you see a guy who's this much longer than the other one, you think he's going to want to strike with him. But Ruben's got heavy hands, and he can stand and bang, whereas Nate's a real talented jiu-jitsu guy under Vicente Jr. at Conquest BJJ, which is a great BJJ academy. So I'm going to look for him to get this to the ground and maybe even be working off his back here against Ruben.
Yeah, again, Nate is a very skilled striker, and he's a guy that despite having the ground skills he has, if you hit him a couple times, you can draw him into a war. And Ruben, in my opinion, if he can land a couple, Nate's not always that guy. Well, he is shooting today. But he's that guy, you can draw him into a brawl, and I think that would be to Ruben's benefit.
Absolutely. A guy, former pro boxer, John, like you said, a guy who's used to throwing his hands and starting to show a little bit of his kind of his ground inexperience here, holding on to this head while Nate's already passed.
Yeah, I agree with you here. Nate's basically cross-side. Not only is Ruben holding on to it, but he's fatiguing his arms at this point, just kind of wasting the energy. He would be better served to let that head go, get his hips out, and get himself back up where he can actually do damage.
Absolutely. We've seen Nate in the Shogun cage do damage to opponents here against the fence. And Nate is, and again, very composed, real mature. I've got a lot of respect for this guy as a fighter. It's hard to get him, again, you can get him into a brawl, but it's hard to get him uncomfortable anywhere. Again, here, he's in this headlock. Ruben's got an arm in guillotine, or a gravata, as I'll be a BJJ snob and point out. And now he's really got him here, but Nate doesn't seem panicky.
That's not a good spot here for Nate. Ruben, as you can see, is a very strong guy. And when a strong guy gets a hold of your neck, it's not the easiest thing to get out of. But again, Nate, longtime purple belt in jiu-jitsu. You can see him defending properly. He has his weight on that shoulder, keeping Ruben from turning him under, which is what Ruben needs to do to get the finish on this particular choke.
Absolutely. A big, strong guy on your neck is never a good thing in fighting or jiu-jitsu. But again, Nate's, you see him here, he's focused, he's fighting those hands, he's kind of working to get out of here like centimeter by centimeter on this grip. And then Martinez is going to be on his back here, and we'll see how he does there.
Yeah, anybody that trains jiu-jitsu extensively, you've probably spent a lot of time in this position with a guy on your neck. So Nate's very relaxed here. Again, just taking his time, working at the hands while he keeps his shoulder pressure on Ruben.
Sure.
And, again, we have to wonder how this is going to factor into conditioning later on for Ruben, who wasted a lot of energy squeezing.
Yeah, exactly. He kind of had a tiger by the tail there for a second. He knew he wasn't going to finish Nate with that choke, but didn't really know where to go, and it shows why, because Nate gets out of that choke, passes almost instantly, and now he's in cross-side, and it's elbow time.
Yep, immediately passes, right to cross-side. Ruben's still holding on to that head. Yep, on the mount.
Now, see, this is interesting. If I'm Nate, I'm not in a rush to mount on this guy.
Especially because he's so athletic.
Sure, and he's doing some good, he's putting a lot of punches in here, but not really hitting. Wow.
He was leaving that arm up there.
Asking for that arm.
Nate wasn't trying to.
And he's going to take it here.
From the bottom, right on
Good
it.
armbar attempt.
Big time.
Wow,
nice
he's belly down. Look at Ruben, though.
It's strong.
Oh, my goodness.
The wrong defense here, but the kid toughs it out. Lifts Nate up. Gets him to slip off the arm. Now he's back in the guard. If I'm Ruben, I would have stayed standing and brought the fight to where it looked like he had the speed and power advantage.
Well, you see the level that Nate has right there. Gets a second, attacks that arm. And, you're not really used to a guy picking you up. But when you get guys who are inexperienced grapplers, they don't do things that are super technically correct. But even in that lack of technique, it can surprise you. You don't know how to react to that. I mean, Nate puts a guy in an armbar. When's the last time, John, Nate put a guy in an armbar and the guy stood up and picked him up off the mat?
That's a fact. It's excellent transition by Nate, and basically strength and athletic ability that allowed Ruben to escape that. Definitely wasn't a technical move, but and here we are now. You can check it out and see where's the, are his arms tired now from the two faulty guillotines?
Well, that athleticism is something great, but, no one ever sees a guy pick a guy up above his head and slam him down and say, oh, man, I should have thought of that.
Exciting first round here.
A very exciting first round. Nate, a guy who's always in exciting fights here in the Shogun cage. We're going to see some highlights here. But again, in no-gi or MMA, I'm not in a super rush to mount because, again, a guy can turn here, a guy can scramble. I would have liked to see Nate stay on that cross side and really land some elbows, a position that Ruben didn't seem super comfortable with being in.
Yeah, I was surprised he didn't attack that arm from mount when Ruben kind of hung it up there.
Yeah.
But he did wind up, attacking the arm in transition.
You don't get much better invitations than that arm.
And, I mean, if he gets the arm bar from the top, maybe he finishes it. The fact that he was on the bottom allowed Ruben to pick him up and shake him off.
Well, we see Nate standing here with his hands open. It's clear he's looking to catch some of these punches and get into this clinch where we saw Nate finish his last fight here in Shogun in the same tie clinch.
Oh,
good knee slam to the body
knees here. And if nothing else, these knees to the body, man, these things add up.
Yep.
And, all of a sudden, those 3 rounds of conditioning you have becomes 2.5 or 2.
Exactly. You can knee the wind right out of you here. But again, Ruben maybe not winning at this point in time, but not terribly phased by it.
Man, I'm impressed because, Nate is a purple belt going on brown belt. And, you see he's got a very tight game here. And Ruben doing well, showing good hips and good ability to defend.
If you're going to take down a guy being as tall as Nate is, taking down a guy as short as Ruben is, you're going to have to get those hips underneath him. Nate's not going to be able to take him down with those singles against the cage where he keeps his hips away. You're going to have to get underneath this guy and pick him up again. The dude's built like a UPS box, John. So if you're going to want to grapple with him, you're going to have to get your hips underneath him to take him down. And when they're on the ground, Nate's gotten the best of him. So he's just got to figure out where it's going to get there again.
Yeah, Ruben showed himself to be a very game opponent. I'd like to see, open it up. Nice level change by Nate.
And now his hips are underneath and out again.
Yeah, Ruben needs to get those hands instead of over his head. He needed to get them in front of him, possibly cross face, get that underhook. Right now he's cross side, and from this position, time to look to get up. Get your arms in the proper spot.
Absolutely.
Where he is right now. Is it going to help him much? If I'm Nate, you can see Ruben working the cage.
Sure.
Maybe Nate pulls him away from that cage and really at that point takes away what defense Ruben would have, because at this point he's not defending properly from the bottom.
And now Nate looking for this crucifix here so he can pin that inside arm and start really doing some damage. I'd like to see some elbows to the body right here. He's got all these avenues available for him, but we're seeing his composure.
Nice little elbow.
And there he's going to take this arm again.
Back for the arm.
Takes his arm again. This one's deep. This one's deep.
Yeah, and he's got. He went to hook the leg for a second.
Wow. That is a hit or miss defense there.
Yeah.
Kids doing jiu-jitsu, don't pick your opponent up when they're arm barring you, because that thing's going to break.
Yeah, don't stand either. We need you to keep low, smash that guy, and do not allow him to extend the arm. Standing helps.
Now and knowing is half the battle. Exactly. And Nate's going to attack a triangle here.
A triangle.
Beautiful.
Nate, long, lanky guy. This is a move you have to be careful of. Again, Ruben's leaning into this thing, and he's actually helping Nate by keeping his posture, down. This thing's locked up. Nate's got it.
There you go.
Got the finish. Great performance by Nate Grebb, and I'll be honest with you, Ruben showed himself to be a very, very game opponent. So, I'm impressed with both guys.
Ruben didn't get psyched out by Nate's resume, and Nate went in there and showed his level of jiu-jitsu against a very tough, very athletic guy who are the hardest to grapple without question.
Here we are, Atlantic Remodeling instant replay. You see Nate with the triangle, grabs the head, pulls it down. gets the finish.
Ladies and gentlemen, your referee halts this bout at the end of the second round. Your winner by way of submission due to a triangle choke, Nate Grebb! Nate, let's go right here, bud. What a fight. It looks like he was giving you a little trouble in the stand-up in the first round. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I knew he was a boxer coming in, and when I saw him at weigh-ins, I knew he was going to hit hard. So the plan was to feel it out on the feet and take him down if I needed to.
He had that gravato locked up on you for a little bit in the first round. Was that tight at all, or were you just kind of waiting it out?
I was just waiting it out. I mean, it didn't feel good, but we worked that all the time at BJJ Conquest, so I'm used to defending it.
Was this how you visualized finishing it on the ground? We know you're a great jiu-jitsu practitioner at BJJ Conquest. Were you looking for a submission here?
Yeah, when it went down, I knew that I had a better ground game than him, so I was looking for a submission. I tried to lock up that arm bar. He was just too strong, so I switched up to the triangle.
Anyone else you want to thank tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to thank, first and foremost, my wonderful wife and daughter for putting up with me during training camp. Also, all my training partners from Team Vicente Jr. and BJJ Conquest, as well as the guys for letting me cross-train up at ground control. And of course, all my sponsors. We got Bull Shirts, Jesus Didn't Tap, Dark Horse Sports Supplements, Crofton CrossFit, and Maximum Fitness. Thanks, guys, for all the support.
Ladies and gentlemen, another great showing for your winner, Nate Grebb.
This portion of Shogun Fight 7 is brought to you by the United States Marine Corps.